Oh, what up, everyone? Okay, let me edit this too. So update that. All right, so what we're doing today is we're going to be working on a little bit of game development in RPG Maker MV, which is a project I've been working on for a while. Haven't really shown anything of it yet. There is, of course, the VX Ace or the MV project I was working on that was like the FFB style thing. I still have that going, but that's admittedly a lot more work than this. So as you can see, the game looks very default right now. This is actually the only map that has anything on it. So we're doing all the technical stuff in the game before we do any of the graphical tile map, character graphic stuff. So we're doing like battle characters. So what we're doing is we're taking sprite work that's already existing, because who the hell wants to draw so many characters on their own if they're not good at that sort of thing, which I'm not. So we're using characters that are sort of like that look like FFB characters, but they're edited to not look exactly the same as the characters that are there before, right? So there's a shitload of characters you can see, like, because this is going to be like a Suikoden inspired game, so there's going to be like 108 characters, and you see like some of them have different sprites. And this is like, if you were playing FFB, you'd know that this is Ish, but I changed like some of the colors on her clothing and her hair and stuff, so it looks like kind of a different character, right? So we're going to be adding a new character in today that is the only character I think I have left to do, which is this guy right here, right? It's the only one left that I have to do for the prologue part of the game. So like the first couple of hours, let's say. All the other characters are already in there, and we'll play with them too. And you'll see like some of their animations and stuff, and I'll go over like how I had to like program some of this stuff, and I'll show you some of the plugins that I wrote for it and shit like that. But he's the last one, so what we're gonna do is we have our data mine of FFB, right? And we know what character. I have a spreadsheet that I made over months and months of saying, hey, this character is gonna be using this FFB sprite as a base. So right now we're looking for Ecor, right? So we have him, right? So we're basically getting his ID number from FFB, which is this. We're going to copy it, and then we're going to go into here, and we're going to go to pictures, sprites. These are all the FFBE data mine stuff. So we look for unit animated, right? And we put in this right here. But since this is only giving you the idea of the base character, so we go 2 higher, right? So let's see, 5. And this should still be him. It is, right? So now we're going to take this and we're going to copy it. And we're going to bring it over to another folder, which is a program that I use to build the actual sprites for the characters after editing them. We build them all by itself instead of me having to edit every single little piece of every frame of the animation. So I have to just edit the base sprites, and then it'll animate on its own. So we got to go back in there and get his actual animation files, which is the spreadsheets that are made for the character right here. And we'll copy those too. And we go right here, right? So now we're just gonna open this with Photoshop. Just move that, sorry. Keys. All right, so this is where we get to mess with removing anything that we want, right? Because like if we take a look at the actual just at the actual sprites from in-game FFB with no edits at all, you see there's all sorts of different effects on the characters, right? Like especially when they're like standing around, they have like these like auras that go around them. This is how they're made, like they're part of the sprite set. So we want to get rid of that shit, right? We don't want to have this weird like watery aura thing going around his fist and everything like that, right? And like we can look at like at this. We're actually going to use this probably right here, right? Like this this special attack here. We just want to look at what effects we have to remove from it, because we don't want it to be like water based. Like we don't need that to happen. So but those are kind of part of the effects of the attack, so we might keep some of them. And like this whole thing where it like zooms in this effect on them, we're gonna get rid of that. And I changed up like the magic casting color. Like all these characters have like this green magic casting thing. I made it blue for every character instead. So we see what we have to work with. So we see what we have to change about it, right? So right away we know that all of this stuff right here is the stuff that's all around his fist, because we just saw it in those images, right? So right away we're just gonna ditch this shit. Bam, done, gone, goodbye. Right? Some of this other stuff we might have to rebuild a couple times to see and make sure that we get rid of a lot of the stuff. There's a lot of this watery shit we can get rid of, and a lot of the stuff that looks like hit sparks we want to keep. But we don't want it to look too lame either. So we're not going to get rid of everything. So you can see that this stuff right here is the stuff that's on the bottom of the character, right? So we want to get rid of that too. We want to get rid of this this like LB effect thing. Let me actually zoom that a little more so we can see it. Here we go. So let's yep, get rid of that. That's done, right? So from now we won't really mess with anything as far as the effects go. We're gonna start cutting out the character though. So basically what I'll do is I'll start copying the character to a new layer, piece by piece, you know, as many frames as I can, like this, right? And we'll copy it, and we'll do this for every frame of the character. This way we can start editing like the gloves, or like the gi, or like the pants, the boots, the hair, whatever we want to do. So like this is how I'll just keep like showing the layer over and over, so I know what other parts I have to cut out. So we know we got this. Damn, all right. It's got a lot of sprites. I'm going to show you one of the annoying parts of FFPE sprites is that sometimes the palettes of them are a little mixed. And when I say mixed, I mean that sometimes, you know what, let me get this row first. Sometimes the colors used in, let's say, the hair will match the color, like 1 pixel of a color used somewhere else on the body. So like I can actually see an example of it right now. It's going to be a pain in the fucking balls, but, and I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. So right here, right, you see the hair has this purple color to it, right? But if you look down here and you look at the backside of, backside of the glove, I thought that was the same color, the purple color. So this might be one of the sprites that's actually good, because it doesn't look like the hair palette color is anywhere else on the sprite. But sometimes there are. Sometimes you'll try to like cut the hair out only and recolor it, and then you'll see that it's also like the outline of the pants, you know, and then you gotta like cut out all that pixel like piece by piece. One of the characters took me 4 days to do, because I was cutting out so many extra pixels of things. It took me 4 days just to get the character cut out properly for like 1 piece of it. That was super annoying. Okay. So we see that all of the, okay, let's do it like that. Let's do it like that. Copy it, right? Now we see we cut off like half of them, so we gotta get that piece back on there too, like this. All right, no problem. Copy it. Now we see. All right. Let's see what other pieces I'm missing from him. Might be none actually. Nope, there is one at the top. Just one. So just this piece right here. And we'll copy that. So now we'll just combine all these different layers that we already cut out until there's only one layer on the bottom and on the top. So now we have the character cut out on one layer. So we'll just name this character base. I'll name this effects because that's where I leave all of the effects. And there's going to be one effect in particular, which is this magic thing, which I'm going to cut out and put on its own layer. So that I layer via cut, right? And I'll just put magic effect. And you'll see we're going to style that differently later. So with the character, right? Now that we have the character all cut out on its own layer, right? We're going to start cutting out pieces of the character, right? And what we do is use the magic wand tool, right, at 0 tolerance, uncheck everything. This way it takes every single instance of this color pixel, let's say, right? And we layer that by copying it. You can cut it too if you want, but I always do copying just in case, right? And we go back down to the previous layer and we do it with all the different pixels in this guy's hair. Copy, right? And you can turn this off to see like where you're at, which ones you haven't gotten to yet, right? So here, right here, boom. There, boom. And eventually when you hit this, nothing will happen. Like it won't look like the hair changes at all. So we might only have like one color left to do, which is right here. And that might be it, right? Because you see that one piece of his hair there is a gray pixel, which we're not going to touch. All right, we're going to leave it alone. So now what I like to do is with cut, we'll sync down all these other layers again. All right, so this is just the hair. So that should be all of the pixels of all of his hair. But just to make sure, I like to throw a big bright stroke on it. So let's say something like really pink, like that. Make it like too wide, this way we can look. I like to look down and see if there's anything we're missing. So like you might see a pixel like this that's stray, or a couple pixels like this that are stray, and you might think, oh, why does it look like that? That's because that's actually hair that's like coming out in the background. So like that's fine to have it that way. So we have the hair done, right? That's all we got to do. Now one thing I try to mess with, so we'll name this hair, right? We'll leave it, we'll clear the layer style so that we're not seeing any of the stuff. Then we just go back to the character base. I'm going to try to do these gloves now. And the gloves and the clothes might have some shaded pixels. We might see that happen, which is going to suck if it does. But it looks like it might not, actually. This might be one of the good sprites that isn't fucked up like that. Right there. That one, right there. This one right here, right? And then that one right there, right? And that might be all of the gloves. No. There's still one more. There. That should be it for the gloves. For the blue parts, right? Which is great. No, there's actually one more. Look at that. So that should be it. That should be fine. So if we cut these down, we'll rename that gauntlets, let's say, right? This shit might have stray pixels all over the fucking place. We gotta look. I don't know, it doesn't look like it does, but it also might have some missing stuff. No, that's all gray. It's fine. You just like to give a little check so you don't have to go around fixing shit later. Which isn't impossible to fix. See, there is one blue pixel there that I missed. See it? It's right over here. Look. Bam, right there. So now I'm going to pop that one. And I also just want to zoom out and see if it's only on those 4 frames. That's only on a couple of them. Yeah, it's always on the gloves. Nah, it's perfect. Okay, cool. This is going to be one of those sprites that's real easy to work with. I'm going to be able to change this guy's colors really easily, which is usually doesn't happen. Right, and we just sync that down again. And I think we're done with the gauntlet part of it. So, boots. The boots, the pants. that sort of thing. We can change the skin color. We can do whatever we want. I actually may make him a bit darker skinned, this character, because from where he's from in the game world that I wrote, is not a predominantly light skinned place. We got there's a couple of characters that are from a place called the there's like 3 Western countries that are like I don't want to say like non-white, but not all white. Let's get a little smoky smoke. You know what I'll also do to make things a little easier for you guys to see this shit is I'll throw a background layer in. Usually I like to take something that's like a little gray, like a dark gray like that, and just color it in. That's actually too dark. This way we can see like where things are, if we have like spare stuff thrown around, right? So I'm gonna test it out with the boots here, because we might have some skin pixels mix in with this, but I don't think so, because this seems to be like one of the really good sprites that's gonna behave a lot. Boots. Oh, see, look. There is one part of the skin that did get thrown in with it. So another easy way to fix that is when we do the skin later on, we are gonna have to end up deleting some pixels here and there, but it's okay, right? So like you see all these spare pixels at the top, those aren't part of the boots, those are all part of his skin tone, which we're gonna end up having to delete it. But it's easy to do it, because we could just go to this layer now, and since we can see they're all like top and bottom, we can just delete like that, right? Because we didn't actually take it off of the sprite. This is why I don't layer via cut. This is why I don't cut them into individual layers. I copy it this way. If there's something we gotta fix later, we can do that. That looks like a weird one. Okay, it's like that. Okay. Yeah, we can ditch all of this piece of it too. So you see, it's really easy to, so like this particular one right here, these pixels would stay because they're part of the boots, right? So like we'd only get rid of these. Sometimes you gotta refill in the character and check, make sure you're getting rid of the right stuff. So otherwise you gotta go back and do it again. Not fully, you could just recut those pixels, recopy them, and then throw them into the layer, and then recolor them. Especially if you're using like layer styles to recolor stuff, then it'll just happen automatically, which is great. And the best part is once you're done with all this, once you're done with the character, I keep all the stuff, like with separated layers and stuff. This way, if I want to change something later, all I got to do is rerun it through the program and rebuild the sprite, and it's fine. There's a whole bunch of other layers I didn't get to. Hold on. Which is just these. Alright, easy. Easy. And yeah, alright, so that was pretty painless to get through that part. So now we have the boots cut off too, so oh, Jesus. I don't know what I just did. So like here, if I run like a color overlay on this, right? I can now change them to purple if I wanted to. Or I could change them to, you know, red. Or, you know, blue. Or pink, if we want to make them like that. We're not going to make them pink. Anyway, that's just something we'll do later. Oh God, what do I do? let's put the magic effect at the top. I always forget to do that, right? So with the character base now, we'll get rid of the boot layer. We'll hide it for now. And now we'll do his shirt. Like the gi or the belt. Maybe we'll do the belt. The belt would be fun, right? Because we could change the color of that too, right? So we have this. All right, now we have that. Copy. Now we have this. Copy. We have that copy. And what? That copy, right? Is that everything? No, I guess not. I didn't get that one. Okay. Copy, right? And we look. And we look, which is that one. Still left to go. Alright, what's it? It's that one. Okay, yeah, that's all part of it too. Bam. Done. With the belt, I think, right? We gotta take a look at everything. We gotta like zoom it out. But this one should be one of the ones that like is kind of good and doesn't get all crazy. Oh, look at that. The fucking sprite has 2 X's behind it. Why? Look at that shit. Are those like unused frames? What is that? You see they're only on the background layer. So like you can see when the sprite artist who did the FFE sprites made these, they might have put this pixelized X behind it to say don't use these frames. I don't know why, they look fine to me. Oh, the head's a little bigger, that's why. You can see it. It's a little bigger than this one. Alright, whatever. Anyway. I'll rename this one belt. We'll get rid of that now. Now we'll do the shirt. Okay. The actual shirt. Just gonna be probably a bit of a pain in the dick. There's always like one part of the sprite that's like a little annoying to do because it mixes in with other stuff. And we don't want that. So let's look at that, right? Honestly, I think that's everything. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's... Man, I wish they were all like this. Some of these are a real pain in the fucking balls to do, man. Some of them would take me like all day. But no, this one's good. Yo, what did I just do? Undo. Okay, good. Shirt. And finally, what we have left over is the pants and boots and stuff, right? Like the bottom of the boots, the pants, and the trim on the jacket, right? We could change the trim on the jacket if we want. But like I said, we got to go do the skin tone again, and we know that the skin tone part is going to bleed over to the boot part. But we already got rid of the pixels that were extra on the boots. So as long as we keep the skin layer below the boot layer, it won't fuck everything up. I'll show you what I mean. Right, so let's do the skin layer now. So we'll change the change out the skin. So copy, right? And we know that it's one particular color on it, which is this one right here, which goes down to the boots. You see, which is fine because we already got rid of them on the boot layer, so we don't have to worry about doing it twice. I'm not sure I would consider the eyebrow part, like this part of the skin tone, because that's just gonna be on top no matter what. I would say that is done. Although there might be a pixel or two somewhere else that's a little fucked up. But we'll see when we start recoloring things. We'll see if there's pixels that are left out. Because, like, certain poses, especially with the skin toners, happens a lot with these sprites, is that you'll see, like, there'll be... See, there is a piece. Look. Like, especially on this one, like... We look at it and we see right here. But that also goes to his belt, which is which you know, it is what it is. Whatever, we'll copy it anyway. It's just that that's going to change the belt color a little bit, which we may not want to do. We might have to hide that one particular part of it. Or once we know what pixel it is, we can copy it again into its own layer and then move it on top of the belt layer later. Which is fine. With the trim layer, which is what we're going to do next. Alright, so here we have the skin tone layers done. And finally, we're just going to do this gold trim around his clothes, right? Oh shit. There, and then right here. Right, we can see that we have everything. So here, once again, we're going to do this, which is, I'm considering this part of the trim. Even though it's also part of the skin tone, maybe. But we'll just make sure that we put this layer above the skin tone. Alright, so this is going to be trim. I'm pretty sure we did all of it right there. That's fine. What we're going to do is, let's start making these layers go in the order that we want them in, right? So do it's boots. Boots has to be over the skin tone, right? So we can put the skin tone last, put the trim over it. And then these, I think, don't really matter because they're all like properly made. So now all we have left is like his eyes and shit, which we don't need to edit, right? We can edit that color later on. If we wanted to, we can actually check, see if it would be any other color. It actually isn't, right? But if we wanted to, we could just copy the eyes on every single piece of the thing anyway, because we only change his eye color is just 2 pixels, but sometimes those 2 pixels are reused in the rest of the sprite, and then you end up having to cut out a bunch of stuff just to change 2 pixels. So it's better to just go frame to frame and recolor in the 1 2 pixels on your own if you want to do that later. So now we could start like recoloring things. So like if we go to the skin tone and we do color overlay, right? We're obviously not going to make him purple. He's not a fucking monster, right? But if we wanted to make him like darker skin, right? We could do, I think it's like yeah, let's say something like that, right? Or like this. And we change like the blend mode, right? So that's like normal with nothing, with like no blending at all, right? And we just move it down, like multiply. We can move it like this, right? I think multiply is probably the best way to go, but then we'd have to like lower it a little bit. So you just change the slider to make it like slightly darker or whatever. Or we could do something like we could do multiply and then duplicate the effect. You could do 2 color overlays, right? So we could do like multiply this, right, and do whatever this color was. It's a copy, right? Paste it. What was that, 30%? Let's say 30%, and this is 30%. And then we could just normal overlay this to make him like darker or lighter, whatever we want, right? Because that's it with just the multiply on. Let's say we want to give him like 16%. Right, and we can kind of just see how it looks. So it doesn't look like a very natural color. So we're gonna have to change how we do it a little bit. Which means you just lighten up the top part. or we could lighten up the bottom part. It still doesn't look like a really good color. Or we can take the color from another sprite. If you have another file, you can just like, we can copy in somebody else. So let's say, try to see a character that's like dark skinned in FFV. So like Kyros, right? If we had Kyros, which we can go get, I'll just download it right now. If you can't get these colors on your own, which like I'm having a little trouble, the skin looks a little grayed out, even though it's being made to like a darker brown. It doesn't look like the differences in the tones are correct to me. So we're gonna look at getting a different sprite. So let's scroll it all the way down, right? I'm just grabbing the sprites for the other character that we can use as like a base to copy their colors over. Or we could use like Barrett, right? So let's say Barrett from like FF7 Remake could also use his skin tone. I think Kyros is more like sort of brown rather than like black African American in the colors of the skin in FFV. But I'll get both just to test them both out. My interwebs is going slow as shit. Viral, thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Alright, so let me just extract this, extract all. It's fine, right? And if we just take, like, his 5-star and just do his idle frame, right? So we just open that with Photoshop as well. Boom. So now we can just, like, kind of take his... let's say his piece of his arm here. Right, we'll copy it in. This is a good way to like change sprite tones if you want. So we'll just copy this anywhere. Where we have the skin tones, we'll clear the layer effects. And he'll go back to being pasty. And then we'll just pop this in anywhere. And we'll just use our ink dropper tool. So this just copies the color like from one thing to another, and then we'll use the paint tool without being so it'll change. Oh, wrong layer. Boom. So actually it's always better to work darker to lighter on these things, otherwise you start missing like things, you start missing colors. So boom, right? So we change every iteration of that pixel color to this pixel color. So you find the next darkest one, which would be that, right? You do this. I know it looks weird now, but I promise you it'll look better. You also have to kind of hope they have the same amount of colors, which doesn't look like they do, right? Because it looks like, what are we at? This is like, we were at this color, and then we're only going to get to this color, which means he's going to look kind of red, right? Just kind of weird looking. But actually it might look kind of good. Right, so we get rid of that. There you go. Much better, right? Much better than what I was doing with the color overlay filter. So we wanted to make sure that like, remember how I said the skin tone was bleeding into the boots, right? But we already got rid of the extra pixel in the boots. So then once we put the boots are back to the right color. You gotta order these layers properly too. All right, so if I wanted to take his hair and make it something, I don't know. I kind of live in the realm of realistic hair colors. I don't make a lot of like pink and blue hair characters. A lot of characters have either like brown, blonde, or black hair. But for this character, it'd probably be good to use something that's like blonde. So if I take another character, like how we use the Barret, right? I'll take another character, which I think if we do I kind of like the Ingus hair. He's got like really blonde hair. All right, we just gotta take that. We'll cut his little head off. We'll throw that in right above the hair layer. We'll pop that over here. Like I said, we'll work from the lightest down to the bottom, right? So the lightest color was that. Oh god, some of these are like really hard to make out the differences in them. Alright, so this is definitely the lightest, the next lightest right there. Boom. And that would be that right there. Boom. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. A lot of the things that I do in Photoshop is done by shit that I learned that was like trial and error. And I'm sure there's an easier way to do a lot of this shit. So like from here, these two colors are so similar, even though they're slightly different. I don't want to make one whole tone exactly the same because it might take away a lot of the details. So at this point, I'm going to work, you know, backwards to forwards, like darkest to lightest. Which is, that's the darkest. Then we have next darkest is this, which would be that right there. Boy, it looks really weird right now. But I promise it won't look like that like forever. It won't look super weird. All right. Let me do that, and then I think it actually is the other color. So I actually think it would be. Yeah, kind of does look that way. So yeah, boom. I don't know, too bright, right? Definitely too bright. That's super bright. Right. So now we might be able to like darken that by doing a color overlay on it and doing something like I don't know, overlay. Oh no, overlay wouldn't work because of the light parts. Well, we'll just like kind of go over it. Like that's pretty good. Not perfect. So like that's like less shitty, if you ask me, right? Because if we take it away, just I actually made it brighter. Fuck, man. That's too much like the same color. Like this wouldn't be bad. It's too much like the same color as the skin tone, but we could like just darken it up slightly. I don't like it. Make it red. What do you think about red? Or like orangey. Orange wouldn't show with this kind of overlay. What are we doing? With hard light, vivid light. Yeah, I might end up just changing the so we can go back and undo, right? We can revert all our changes, right? So we're back to purple. We can get rid of this Ingus head because that's too bright blonde for this character. And we might look at somebody else, let's say. Who got some blonde hair up in FFB that I'm thinking of? Like Cloud is one of them, right? But Cloud sprites actually only have like a 3 or 4 tone hair color. Like most of the color variation is in his clothes. I know that just from looking at the sprite a million times. You could give him silver hair. That'd probably look pretty cool. We could give him like olive dark blue hair. Well, he's got purple hair too. Never mind. Fuck me. Lucien has like brown hair, like blonde. Like that color might not be bad. This might actually be perfect. All right. Yeah, that probably wouldn't be too bad. Let's try that one. So we'll go. So like this color right here is not part of his hair. That's his eyebrow color. Like this is actually the darkest hair color, which I don't know if I love. It's like this and this are the same color, right? Yep. All right, fuck it. Let's give it a try. That's like too hard to tell the difference between like his neck and his hair. So nope. Lucian's out. Fuck you. Get out. Next. Try to take somebody else's hair color. Leela has like red hair. Fuck is Leo? Oh, General Leo? Oh, General Leo. He's got blonde hair. There you go. Ain't got a lot of it, but it's there. Let's work brightest to darkest here. This might not work out for us. Ugh. He's only got 4 colors. 5 if we want to take like... yeah, that is... okay. Right, yeah, so like this is the last color of his hair, which is this, and then we have 2 more, right? So we might have to bleed into like his skin tone maybe to possibly get it. And then we could just take our own color here and just make it like darker. I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna look. What do you think? Thinking blonde maybe is not the way to go with this guy. Oh wait, we got to undo everything. Now we could also color overlay and just do white, and it would turn his hair sort of gray. If we just did color, it would turn his hair sort of black. Which I don't know, that just makes him look older to me, and I don't want him to look old, you know? But we could definitely double color overlay it with... and then do like normal. But change it to like black, and then bring it down to make it like darker. So just his black hair. But there's still like that grayness to it that I don't like. But still, it doesn't look bad. So for now, we'll keep the hair there, because it's just an overlay effect. We can just undo it anytime we want, if we want to recolor it. So the gauntlets, I was going to actually just do the same color overlay to make them gray. Because that looks much better. Or we can change them to something like sort of like red color, like a really dark one. Ooh, no, that is too much. Yeah, I have to be color. Well, I was trying to see what like looks good. It has to stand out against like the other colors that he's got. So if we made him like sort of, I don't know if I want them to be green. Maybe something like dark purple, like maybe could be cool looking. But I use that color way too much. I don't know. We don't have to figure that out yet. We could do the shirt first. So we color overlaid the shirt. See? Now you can change it to kind of whatever we want. Huh. If I kept it like this color, it'd be like Dole's Suikoden 2 style. But I wouldn't do that. What do you think about a little olivey green sort of color? I kind of like that. Right, so we could copy this from the shirt, copy the layer style, and do the same thing with the boots, but then make them darker, right? With a second color overlay. Just make them a little bit darker so they stand out a little bit. Something like that, right? See? It's not bad at all. The trim. What do we do about the trim we're not going to mess with. Keep it gold. What's this about? The belt. Aha. The belt, maybe we could do something with a little red. Or like a brownish sort of color. Ooh, yeah. I don't know, what do you think about the red? I kind of like the red. Making it a little more red doesn't look bad at all. But like slightly though. Like not all the way down there. Yeah, you know, I kind of like it. It's like a little bit. Like that. I kind of like that. So we did that. So I kind of do want to do the eyes now because it looks like you can't really see his eye color at all against the skin tone because it's similar color. So we could change that. But right now we just got to get these gauntlets set to a different color, and I'm unsure what to do with those. But what about the same color as like that belt? Like, what do we do with that? Can we get it to the same color? That's the thing. Like a similar color? Like, you kind of have to make these a little brighter than the arms because I don't know, how's this look? That don't look bad, right? It looks pretty good. And you can kind of see the difference in the gauntlets and the arms. Yeah, you can. Alright, so, real quick, let's try to copy the eyes and see if it actually copies any other frames out, right? So this one and this one. Let's see if it's just the eyes. It looks like it's just the eyes. So we could change the eye color to whatever we want now. Eye color we can make I think like green-ish, but not like super bright green, like kind of dark green. We think like green eye, like that. Yeah. Yep, not bad. So I'm just going to open up one of the other characters that I've done. To get their magic effect style, right? That's just the other character. So you see that magic effect, those magic casting orbs now will be blue, the way they're supposed to be. So right now we're not going to change anything else. One of the things we might want to change though is the fact that a lot of his effects are blue, but his character colors are completely changed now. So like having these blue things on him is going to look kind of fucking stupid. So first we're going to have to build the sprite just to see. Right, so we're going to save a copy of this. No problem. But we're also going to save as a bright. Unprepared. What's up, man? Thank you for the follow button. We're also going to create a new folder for his edited shit. So I'm going to name this edited spreadsheet. I have it in every single folder for every character. Right, this way we can come back in and change anything we need. So I'll show you what I'm going to do now to build the character. Is we have a little bit of programming here, so we do. Can we do which is, what's it? The hell's number is he? So we get this number right here. This ID number. And we do that negative C5 thing to make sure that it outputs them in rows of 5. And we do that for the battle animations part of it. Now I show you the really fun part of aligning everything correctly. That's going to be I've made it a lot easier on myself to do this, but if you're doing it like without the stuff that I have written to do it, it's probably a giant pain in the ass. So now we can actually see the sprites that got outputted, right? With the color changes that we put in, right? So with the blue hit sparks and stuff, they're not too terrible. It doesn't look too bad. But they still do look like kind of watery, which we don't want. And there are certain parts of it that maybe we want to change. But this is all fine for now, right? And you see he doesn't have his weird stuff around him. But this stuff we definitely want to get rid of. So we have to find the stuff that looks like this on the sprite sheet and delete it, right? Which we can find it pretty easily. It's right here. This shit, right? Yeah, it's probably both of those parts. So all of this goes fucking goodbye. Bye-bye. Right? Delete that. Oh, shit. Forgot to get rid of one part of that LB animation thing. And get rid of that, too. This is something I definitely want to check. Right? So it's got all that stuff. No problem. So that stuff could all look pretty cool if we change the color. Like at blue, it looks like kind of watery, but if we change it to like some sort of like yellowish color, like sandy colored, or like red, it would look pretty awesome, right? And I think that's all we have to change, right? Yep, this is standby. Oh, and whatever this is. To find maybe where if there's like some other watery piece. I'm betting it's these two right here. Betting it's those. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. So now what we got to do is we got to take all this blue shit, right, and make it its own layer now. So we'll layer via copy. We'll do the same thing we did with everything else. Layer via copy. Oops. Let's see. Let's see what to do. That. Oh, actually, let's do this like this. Go. Copy. Did I not get all this shit before? I thought I did. Huh. It doesn't really matter. There's no alpha on this stuff up front, so there's no no harm in like copying over the same stuff over and over again. It's fine. Let me drop these all down. And we'll get rid of this, and we'll get rid of this. Actually, we'll get rid of everything. So we want to see what's on this effect layer. On the blue layer, right? I want to make sure we got everything that we need to get out of it. Which I think we did. I think we got everything. But maybe not. Maybe we didn't get everything. Hold on. No, we're good. We got everything. So this blue layer now we'll just color overlay. We'll change it to something else. So not green. We could change it to red, but not that. Not that red. That looks pretty good. But we wanted to kind of go with something like that, yeah. Something that kind of matches his gloves, right? So we save that. We'll save the PSD and we'll save the copy of it, which goes right here. And then again, we just hit up and rebuild the sprites, the sheet. And without this tool, oh my god, it would take me forever and a half to do this, to do even one character. Buff, thank you for the follow, bud. Appreciate you. So now if we go look, we should be a-okay with these sprites. We gotta just make sure, right? So yeah, look, that looks a lot better, right? No blue watery shit anywhere, right? Not on them. Gotta make sure there's none of that on this. Right? No. That's just him beating the living shit out of enemies, no problem. Got it, right? That's his magic stuff. Oh, he still had one fucking... Still had it from his win pose. From where, though? Oh, I see it. I see it. It's this shit. Right here. I think. Alright, so if we do this, and delete that. And then we delete it out of here too. That had to be it. Yep. Definitely was. Right. So we'll rebuild it again. No problem. Can you imagine if I had to build every frame of this shit on my own? It'd be impossible. Oh, once again, rebuild it. All right, so look at that. Perfect. Done. So now we get to actually build him up. So first thing I'm going to do is just take all these files, I'm gonna take. We'll get rid of that. Get rid of that. Just gonna take these files and put them in their own folder, which is any of his image files. Now we get to actually put him in game and make him an actual character. All right, so we'll cut these, put them in his folder. Now we'll get rid of all these data files that we don't need and make room for the next character. So what we get to do is we're going to take the dead pose, the dying, the idle, jump, not that, not that. We take these things and we'll open them. Oh, actually, wait. I'll just do it through Photoshop. It's fine. So we want to do. Well, actually, let me make. I always make like a 192 like base. Whoa, 192. Thank you very much. Keep this extreme left. Ah! I fucking hate when I do that. I like to open these in the order that I'm going to use them, which is standby comes next. State run rodent. Thank you for the follow, bud. We do standby, and then it's magic standby, then magic. This is just so that it's easier for me to go left or right. And then dead or dying, whatever. And then move, and then jump. I like it when characters have different jump sprite. Only a few characters in FFB have a different jump sprite than their movement sprite. A lot of times they're the same. So here's how we build up the character, right? And make the actual sprite sheet to be used in game. And this is a little bit of a process, but I'm kind of an expert at it at this point. So first thing you want to do is just add a stroke to these characters so you know you're cutting at the right sizes, right? And we're just going to keep pasting in each frame, and then we'll align them using the same thing with the stroke, right? Because everything is aligned with these sprites by their shadow. You see the shadow underneath them, it always lines up right. Some characters have different size shadows for different poses, which is fucking annoying, so we get rid of that. So all I'm doing is copying and pasting each frame into its own layer. And I'm doing this in the order that they're going to be on the sheet. You can do it in any order you want if you're doing it, but I like to do it efficiently so that I could just go 4 layers at a time and do each pose, right? Some characters in FFE have 8 to 12 frames on a pose. And a lot of times that is based solely on the weird auras that are around them. So when you remove that, it looks like they have several frames that are just not animated and they look exactly the same. So you have to kind of pay close attention to which ones you're copying over. And I've had it where I had to go back and fix it. So I had a character just like with a frozen idle frame just not doing anything. Oh wait, what was that? I didn't do this one yet. Here we go. Right? I don't think I did. Definitely need the wind pose in there. All in all, should equal 24 frames once we're done with this. So, dying. Dead. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Now we have movement and jump, finally. Last one, okay? So lining up the jump is going to be a little weird because it's a different sprite, but that's fine. So now we can zoom in here, and here's where we'll line everything up, right? We're going to hide all the layers for now, just except for like the first two. Right, so we're going to throw that same stroke on this original layer, and then on the second one we're going to change the color of it. We're going to put the same exact stroke, same size and everything, and we'll just make it like green, right? Like bright green if we want. We're going to copy this layer style, and then we're going to apply it to every other layer in the thing, even though we won't see it right away. So now we can just zoom in here, right? I'm going to move each layer until it's all lined up with the shadow. Now in FFVE, this alignment is done via a spreadsheet, believe it or not. There's just a spreadsheet file that tells you the X and Y offset of each frame, and that's how they all line up perfectly. So they must be going through that shit with trial and error, or some sort of external program that tells them the exact value they need to use. And I've actually seen that program in action, but it's in Japanese, so it's very hard to figure out what's going on in it. Now, one thing I will tell you is that the dead sprites are sometimes really hard to line up because this shadow, like the stroke gets like, so you kind of have to keep moving stuff around. Like that kind of looks exactly right. Or that kind of looks exactly right. So yeah, that's good right there. Now the movement, so like the jump one is going to be a little different, right? Because like the jump one will try to line up with the actual. Right now, the jump ones aren't really used much in the game. At least not by me yet. Anyway, that's fine. So now they're all lined up, right? So now what you got to do is you got to crop this and then center it. The reason why you want to center it is because when we're using animations on a character in game, if they're not centered, it's going to look very weird when an animation's playing over them. So basically just go left to right until it snaps. Okay. Snapped. Go top to bottom. Well, that was weird. It's a weird snap. Alright, so now get rid of every layer except for the idle one. Right? So what we want to do is we want to have the same exact amount of space on the left and on the right at the direct middle of the character, right? So like let's say we had a status icon placed on this character, where above its head would we want it to show? I would think like right here in this square, right? Like that would be the middle alignment of the character, like that line going all the way down. So like this, right? So just like that, right? So now on this side, right, we could see that we have 52 pixels, right? And on this side, we only have 31, right? So what we do is, easy way to figure out, it's 3, and this is 50, what did I say, 51? 52, right? So 52 times 2 is 104, and then you have 3 pixels here, so 107. So this is basically what we do. We just go to canvas size, change it to 107, right? And at the same time you do this, you put 2 pixels on the top and bottom, 1 each, right? Height, whatever. Height was 65, we're gonna make it 67. This ensures that we can get to put a border around the sprite and not in conflict with any pixels that are there. This is gonna create a new thing, right? So we go there. So I fucked up one thing, which is I didn't actually fill in the 52, which we should do, right? before we change the canvas size to 107. And the reason for this is that we want to take this and you highlight every layer, right? Even if you can't see them, and just move it over until it touches the edge. Bam. Now, when we copy this 52 and we paste it and we put it on the other side, it perfectly hits the other side. Right? So now we know the sprite is dead centered. So any animation that plays on it is going to be playing like basically right here, outward. So it won't be all out of whack, right? From that point, we can delete that. We don't need that. Now we have to, let's get rid of all the layer styles here. We no longer need them on anything. Boom, clear layer style. So now what we're gonna do is we have to go down to the first layer, create a new layer. We're gonna call this borders, right? Like I said, there's probably a much easier way to do this, but I'm meticulous and end up doing things like this. So basically just gonna fill that in, and then we're gonna, son of a bitch, it's a little hard to get this, right? 1, 2. We're basically just gonna make a 1 pixel border around the whole thing, like this, right? So the reason why we added a pixel to the top and bottom is so that you see that's the bottom of the sprite, and that's the absolute bottom thing that it's touching, and we don't want it to conflict with anything, and it's not once we do this. So now what we have to do is get this on every single layer, right? So we have to copy this and paste it above every single layer. And then once we do that, we gotta combine it with the layer underneath so that it becomes part of that layer. You could probably just paste into the layer itself instead of creating a new layer, but that's like a setting you'd have to change each time you want to do this, so I just do it this way. It's faster to me. And then you get rid of the border layer, right? Now, we're ready to create the sprite sheet of the character. Now, I know, just like this will differ per person, I know that my sprite sheets are 4 frames across and 10 down, 10 rows, right? So 10 rows, 4 columns. So we do 400%, 1000% on the canvas size. Now we're just going to start moving them into position. Well, we move that, right? So that's idle frame 1, idle frame 2, idle frame 3. And you let it snap in, no problem. So ready pose. You have magic prep when they're chanting. Then we have casting. Now the best part about the rest of this is that once we go past this is a victory pose, right? The looping part of the victory pose. So FFB sprites have 2 different victory poses. One is a before animation, which is can be a long-winded animation. It can be like 30-40 frames of animation, and then it goes into a looping thing over and over again once it reaches the end of it. That's something I was able to recreate in RPG Maker MV. And the dead, dying, and movement poses usually only have 1 frame. There are very rare instances where a character will have a dying pose that it's animated. Right? So usually you do left movement and right movement, but we use in-game code to change the direction of the sprite. So we're going to put both movement facing left, even though anytime this one's called, it's going to be mirrored and facing right in-game. Right? So we just copied that twice. These can have only 1 frame. They don't need to be copied all across. Right? So now once we're done with this, and we're lined up properly, we just combine everything into 1 layer. We zoom in, we get rid of the pink. Now, that's it, it's done, right? That's how we edited the character's colors into what we wanted. made it so that it's usable in game. That took 1 hour, about. So an hour per character is pretty fucking good when you think about it, because a lot of times this might take a much longer time to do. Now I know that in my game these character sprites have to be twice as big, so I do everything at the normal size, and then I change them to 200%, and you have to go nearest neighbor to make sure that they don't get all blurred out, right? So there you go. Now it's 2 times size. Now I can save it in my game folder. So if we go D, games, untitled, image, side view actor, right? And we take any of the characters I already put in. Same setup on the file name, and we'll just change it to boom, done. Now, that's it. He's done. And his animations are actually done too. Like his attack animation, I'll show you what I mean when it comes to that. That's going to be the part that's a little bit of trial and error. It's a little bit of pain in the ass to figure out, but there's a plugin that I wrote that lets you use any size animation, okay? Normally, RPG Maker animations are... I'll show you what I mean. They are... Usually an RPG Maker animation is very small, okay? Each frame has to be like this. These tiny 192 by 192 frames, right? And that's fine if you're making like a lower resolution game. But RPG Maker MV lets you, MV and MZ both let you make a much higher resolution game. And MZ actually has particle effects for animations, which is fucking cool as shit, and I wish this had it, but it doesn't. But I needed to write a plugin that let me use animations that were any size, okay? So let's say for this character, right? This one actually fit in the 192 by 192 framework, so I made it normal. Any one of them that have like these codes here, this is telling it that it's 122 by 80 pixels each cell, each frame of the animation. And then the 46 and 11 is the X and Y offset that it places it on. So if we play the animation in the editor, it looks fucking weird as fuck, right? Doesn't look like it's actually playing anything. But in game, it animates properly. And the way we do that is by, once again, taking the animation file, taking the character file, putting a stroke on both of them, they're 2 different colors, and then lining them up via these codes right here. So this is like how the plugin works. Like you have to write IAD with height plus X plus Y, or minus X minus Y. And you put in the numbers that you need, and that's it. And I only had to change one thing for it, but this took me like a couple months to write properly and get working totally. So I'll show you what I mean. So we just saw that character, right? Which was Eileen's attack, right? Look. Looks like shit, right? But I'll show you what it looks like actually in game. Grindedly. Go fight some enemies. So you'll see she'll animate just fine. And it's because of that plugin that I had to make. Man, don't be killing my people. Look. There you go. She animates just fine. So you're able to actually take their very long-winded LB animations and shit and do shit like this. So you'll see what she does. I love it. There you go. You get to do cool animations, right? So that's like how we have to make the animation. So now instead of me having to actually cut the animation up into various different cells, I can just import the picture and then put in the right sizes, and we're good to go. All I got to do is line it up. So it's a time-saving measure that as soon as I started working with any of these sprites, I was like, oh god, I cannot do this frame by frame. Like this is it's gonna take me a week to do one character's animation. It's so dumb. And it was taking me quite a while to do them, like several hours to do one character's animations, and until I wrote that plugin. So, I mean, that plugin's available, like, publicly, too. I released that. So, if you find a use for that, let me get the link to my paste bin shit. Here we go. These are any of the plugins that I made for RPG Maker MV, including that one that changes, that lets things animate properly, is on there if you want to use it. So what were we doing? We were doing this character, right? So it was Johnny, right? So the first thing we have to do is we have to give him a class. We have to set up his stats and stuff. His face, I don't think... Did I get to that one yet? I might not have. I don't fucking remember what number he's at. What was the last one I finished? I put in all these like placeholder images before I put faces in, and I just didn't do it for like half the characters on the bottom, which is fine. So his battler will just set as the one that we just made, boom. And then we have to put in a couple codes for him. Like one that sets his normal attack, shit like that. So we'll just copy, we'll copy this one, it's fine. We'll copy one martial artist to the other. What the hell number was he? He was way down the bottom. Fuck, man, I'm gonna have to like do a bunch of counting and shit. So basically, this is just setting like where his rows and stuff are. So like his row is, because it's very Suikoden inspired, so there's the front row, the short row, the middle row, the long row. So each character has to have a setting for that. So 1 is the front one, 2 is the middle, and 3 is the long row. So he's going to be in the front row, obviously. He's a short range fighter. Just let me use the bathroom real quick. It'll be 1 minute. Okay. So yeah, like I said, this is just setting their basic stuff, like their MP and how much they gain. So he's a martial artist, he's not much of a mage. So the command replaces the attack, and it's going to give him a certain skill. So right now he's going to be using somebody else's skill for his attack. They all have the same damage calculation. It just has a set animation that we're not going to be using yet. So while we're testing him, the first couple times he might have somebody else's attack, but it's fine because we didn't actually make the skill for his attack yet. And then we have his rune ability, which we call Petra in this game, which I don't want to use the same exact name because that would be weird. We'll set the different skill ID to that later. So all we got to do is change the name right here, and he's basically ready to go. And we got to change his victory animation. Like I said, like once we do those animations and line them up properly, we'll get him going. So basically what I've been doing is copying a character, like I'm naming them here, right? Like all these different characters. The name that's in parentheses for their class is basically the stats that they're based on from Suikoden 5. I'm just kind of basing them on them up front, and then I'll tweak them later as I want. So right now we're just going to like pick a character, which I think is going to be Nakia for Johnny, right? And we're just going to look up what her max level stats are and set some curves. And then his stats are done and what he can equip is done. So his hand-to-hand is already there. He's already got the right kind of stuff. Light, normal, light, normal, light, normal. No problem. He's all good on everything. And he's going to start, yeah. This gives him his equip slots, like how many Petra and stuff he has. So all we have to do is his stats. No, I went to the wrong website. Let's see what kind of stats she has at the. I think she has like crazy strong attacks that she does. And she's what, a 250 weapon growth? Yep. Alright, so max HP, we'll start her off at my god, she gets 911. Attack, we'll start her off at like 30. And she goes up to 749. But what we do is we minus the weapon growth from that. So her weapon growth goes up to 250. So we'll do 749 minus 250. Not hard to figure out what that is. This way her total attack becomes 749, right? Defense, I always keep everybody at like 20 to start. And defense is like the one stat that stays low, and it's based mostly on gear in that game. She only gets 210 magic. Well, he only gets 210 magic, so we'll bump him up to like 16, 210, that's fine. He's probably got dog shit magic defense. Actually, not bad. And agility. Agility is where, oh wow, 296. He's actually slow as fuck for a martial artist. So that's like a stat that I'm going to probably tweak later. All right, so say 34. So the luck stat in this game is used as the attack power stat. So like the weapons have like increased luck, like as far as the engine is concerned, but it shows in game as attack, and their attack right here is really like their strength, like their physical strength, and they get added together to figure out damage. So his thing is all done. All we have to do is set his class to that class, which was boom, right? And then we can give him a weapon. So we didn't make his weapon yet, and just like Suikoden, each character has a weapon that changes name and goes up 16 levels, stuff like that. But we'll just give him some other shit to start him off with, like some gear. We'll give him like the most baseline shit you can give a person. But also a strength sash, because why not? So his unique one is going to be the Fierce Tiger, right? So he's going to have that. Level 1, and his... Hold on, I got to set his range. Where the fuck was he again? This guy just keep disappearing from me. There we go. Alright, so if we just want to take out every single kind of... every other character, I'll put these all back in later. And we'll set him to something higher than level 1 to start, because it'll be a little tough for him to survive without it. So the first thing we got to do is make his weapon, right? So like I said, every character has like 16 weapons, and it changes names as it goes through, right? So we got to find the one for the other one that has the same growth rate, which is what? 245. These, the claws, right? So if we copy this, oh my god, I gotta go all the way down now and find his fucking number. What the fuck number was he? I didn't even get to it yet. 86. Alright, hold on, I gotta do something first. Wait, I gotta do like this, right? 67, so let's just copy that over, right? Let's say that's 68. Who was 68? Okay, so 69, 72. I'm just counting the characters that are battle characters or not. So 69, 72, 73. 68. So 69. Oh no! I copied the wrong thing. 69. I keep doing this. I gotta just copy them first. Like this. That's why I know there's 16 spaces, you know? Alright, so when we had 60, it was 67, 68, so 69, nice, and then 72, right? 72, Billy, Jesus. 73, 74, 76, 77. So wait. 73, 4, 6, 7. 3, 74, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81. All right. These just go in order. Right. 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81. We already know that guy's not going to be a battle guy. He's not. 86, so he's next. Okay. Okay, so now that we have where his weapons are going to be, we're going to copy this weapon because it's the same exact type and it's the same exact growth. So all we got to do is copy it and change the fucking name, which is great, right? Which is 86. Boom, right? So for now, we'll leave it the same. Doesn't matter, right? Or we'll just change the name to 1, right? So for each level there, we'll change this because we have to do some script stuff to make sure that he gets the right weapons. So we're just changing the name so that we can find it in the script list instead of picking the wrong one. So weapon 930 becomes his weapon. So that's what he's going to start with. That's the whole reason why we did this, is boom, right there. I really wish it had the ID numbers on this list, but it doesn't. So what we have to do is we have to go into the Forge script and set his weapons, right? So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom here because we know he's 86, right? Pick him, right? And what we're going to do is just set this first weapon. It's very easy. And from there, we just change all these numbers. Just send them up. The 931. 932, 933. This is easier and faster than going down a drop-down list forever. 935, 36. You got to make sure you get these correct though, because if you don't, it'll crash the game. Because whoever wrote this had very poor error handling. 939, 940. 541, 542, 543, 944, and 935. So 935 should be his final weapon, right? So if we go to it and we go, oh wait, 945. See, I'm an idiot, right? And if we go to the weapon and we go to 945, that should be his last weapon. Boom, it is. Perfect. So now when we go to a blacksmith, it won't crash the game. So we'll just test out his normal animation to make sure everything's animating properly. Like I said, he's going to have some other characters' animations on him to start up, which is fine. We don't need to worry about it. Uh-oh, I can't find his image. Oh, that's why. Because he doesn't have a face. Forgot I have to set one. because of another plugin that I made. So we just have to get him anybody's face for now. He could just have fucking whatever. Hero, it's fine. Alright, so he's loading up properly. So we could change his row here, right? One thing I gotta do though, this shit is blasting in my ears. I gotta like make this slower. I also put in the original, so you can in 1 and 2 and 5 window skins. I like the one from 5. So right now we're just gonna test his animations. We're not even really like worrying about it. So he's gonna have Aileen's animations like when he actually attacks and stuff. So let's just make sure he's got the right ones. All right, he's got the right movement ones. Okay, he's got the right escape ones. Oh man, he's getting fucking slapped. That's alright though. Alright, we're good on that. So, here's where we gotta do some funny shit, right? We gotta go back into Photoshop. We gotta open up his... Where's his shit? Here we go. Right? And we gotta save it with a stroke on it. Which we're gonna make the pink one, right? And we'll save that shit right now. We're gonna go into his... We gotta go into our folder here. We have to take his attack animation, his win before, and his limit attack, right? Because we're gonna use all 3 of these. Normally I don't use the limit attack, but he has a special Petra, so we're gonna use it. So we're gonna, no, not cut. We're gonna copy. And I'm putting these in to the animations folder. All right, obviously I'm gonna rename them. So they don't have weird names. I hate that it does that. Like, I gotta go finding the fucking thing. Where'd it go? Oh. Alright, so what we got to do is we have to go skills, right? And we're going to just save hers, right? We'll copy it over. How many past Solana is he? Hold on, I have to look. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this should be his slot for his attack. Right. I like to put everything in order. You don't have to do this, but I do it, right? So what we're going to be doing is changing the animation that hits this stuff, right? So instead of this, we're going to be doing 173, which is going to be his attack animation. So then we know that 174 will be the one that plays on the enemy. So everyone's attack is actually 2 animations. One that plays on the character, one that plays on the enemy. Hang on, guys. I just gotta check something for a moment. What was it for? Oh, this one. Hang on. Okay. So we know that we're changing the animation that's going to play on them, right? So right now, if we do his attack, right, so it's 62. So we have to go back to him, right, and make sure that his attack is set to skill ID 62, right? So right here, 62. And then we know his victory animation is going to be 2 down from that. So it's going to be, the hell number was it again for the animation? It's going to be 175. Oh yeah, I forgot the other character has 2 animations, so it's just going to be 175. 175, and then these 2 can go bye-bye. Because the other character actually had 2 victory animations in a row before the loop. He'll only have 1. So right now he's all good on his stuff, right? He's all good on his actual settings. Now we just have to do the animation. So we have to find out. First thing we got to do is find out how big each frame and how wide and how high each frame is, right? So by looking at the file, we could tell it's 18 frame animation. So 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we could set that right now to 18, right? What we're going to do is we're going to put pattern 1 in, right? And then we're going to put pattern 1 in at 18 again. And we're going to batch that XY, scale it to 200 because the characters are both double size, and we'll make it normal, right? Now we're just going to tween that so that every frame has the same exact thing, because we're just trying to get the character lined up properly. So now we open the file in Photoshop. Right, and to figure this out, we just go image canvas size, right? So now we have 600 pixels, right? And we see that it's 5 across, right? It's 5 across. So you do 600 times divided by 5. We know what that's going to be, 120, right? So 120 by 348 divided by, and it's 4 rows, right? So 87. If you ever do this, and there's ever a decimalized number here, you did it wrong. I did that once and I was like, what the fuck? I started moving the character around on the sheet and I was like, oh wait, I just didn't count one of the rows. So like if I did 348 divided by 3, well, I'd still get an even number there. That's fine, but it's because it's an odd number. It's all good. One time I got like, 96.5 and I was like, what the fuck? So what did we say it was? 348 divided by 4. So 87, 120 by 87, right? So now that's where we put in that code. All right, so we do IAD 120, 87, right? It was? Yeah. And for now, we'll do +0 and +0 for the XY coordinate. That's what we're going to figure out now, right? So there's his attack. So the attack that goes on the target is you just make it the same amount of frames. It doesn't even have to have an animation. Right now it's going to have nothing. Right, we already know it's going to play 174 on them. No problem. So what we're going to be doing now is testing out. And now I'll actually make him like level like fucking 80 to make him fast as fuck. What we got to do is we got to stroke this image now and save it. But we're going to do this one with the green, right? And let's save that. Now when we go into the game, we'll see exactly how many pixels we have to move this animation in the code. And we could probably do this within a few tries. Right? So I took a screenshot right there. Boom. Alright, so you go like that. So now I took a screenshot. So now we could see how much we need to move it over, right? And the green one is the one we're actually moving over. Alright, so let's just cut that out. So if we look at this, right, and we see from here to here is... Am I getting that correctly? Yeah. Let's say from this edge to this edge, right, which is how much we have to move it over. It's 56 pixels, right? And from here to here, it's only 3. So if we then go we have to move it down, right? So we're doing +3 on the Y, and what was it? 56 minus 56. Right? Let's go back in and test it again. It may not be exact because that animation is still at 1x size and it's brought up to 200% size, so it might be aligned a little off, right? But no, fucking perfect. Look at that, bam, right? Perfect, just like that. That's how you figure it out. It usually doesn't happen on the first shot, man. I'm fucking proud of myself there. That was pretty good. So now we can actually change this frame of the animation to 18 and tween it properly, right? So now it's actually animating with his actual animation. It's still gonna have the green shit around it, but now we'll see it. There you go. No sound effects yet or any of that. That's fine. Now he's animating properly, right? So for the animation file, we can remove the stroke and resave it. This one we still need to keep that way, but now we have to do the victory one, right? And his rune attack. So for this, right, we see that it is what? 5, 10, 15, 16 frames. No problem. So it's a 16 frame animation for his victory. IED, let's just say 1, 1, +0, +0. Just putting the codes in so I can have it. Some of these animations, man, are so fucking big. There's one of them, I can't look at it ever again. I had to manually put in the values in a text file. What we say, 16, right? So same thing, we put pattern 1, right? We do 16, pattern 1, right? And then we just batch everything into the same spot and size and blending. And then we tween it so that it's all set up right. Now we just get the values that we need, which is 270 divided by 5, 54 by 4. So 73 is the height. What would we say the other one was? 54 by 73. So do 54, 73, and we'll figure out where we got to go from there. So now when we win a battle, and to make our lives easier with that, I'll actually give him a Petra of some kind and save the game, and then we can just reload and he can just AoE everything. I could actually just start him with one too. Let's just give him one. Let's give him fire. Actually no. No, actually yeah, fire's fine. So basically, we're looking at the victory pose now. That's what we want to see. Hold the fuck on now. Uh-huh. That's why. I knew something was wrong. So we'll just retest that. He didn't play his actual victory animation, and I was like, why not? Oh man, that's like right on. Hang on. Yeah, it might actually just be perfectly on there to begin with. Hold on. Let's actually animate it and see. What we're going to be looking for is any sort of movement at the end of the animation, or if the character like moves up or down a pixel. That's what we're going to be looking for now, because that looked like it animated pretty well. Like on top of the character. Tween it. Done. I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't really tell. It looks like it does move over, like 1 fucking pixel. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do +1. Oh wait, it's gonna be 2. I always forget that the character is double size, but the animation isn't. So let's try with +2 and see if that changes. See if it looks like he doesn't move over at the end. Because it looked like he was moving over just like a little bit. Hey, you know what? Let's beat these guys up with different enemies. They're still gonna get fucked up, it's fine. Yep, that's fucking perfect. Alright, so his victory animation is now finished. That's it. So he's done with that, right? And now we have D00 +0 +0, right? Please don't crash my shit. I'm saving it first. Hold on. Sometimes when you load a big animation in, if it's a really big file, it'll crash your shit because the editor isn't built for it. But that one's not that big. Bro, some of these LB animations that are like 100+ frames long, oh my god, they will fuck your shit up. So, oh god, I don't know how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. So be 45, 48 frames. All right, let's do 48 frames, right? Oh, let's pop this in here at pattern 1. Pop this in here at pattern 1 also. Batch it. Tween it. Save it. So now we have to make the actual skill, which is going to be so we're going to save the one from White Tiger, right? And we'll copy it over to Fierce Tiger because they're pretty much going to be the same thing. Let's change the name. 4, 5. So that's the I think it's going to be like 176 or 170. Oh, we'll find out right here. 177. Done. Skill 249. So all we have to do is do skill 249 right there, and then on the actual piece of gear as well, which is 249, right? So now he should have the skill available to use in battle. It's actually we didn't do the animation yet. We got to figure out the sizes. But for this one, we can kill the stroke and resave it. Now we move on to the last animation that we need to do for him, and then he's done. We're ready to go. And usually we don't have to do 3 of them, but canvas size. Here we go. Start messing with some big ass shit here. So 1695 divided by 5, 339. Right. So let's put that in before we start messing with shit. 339. And then we have 3060. Divided by 10, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So 306. You're probably going to have to move this on minus values a lot, right? Well, like I said, we might be able to figure this out in one fell swoop. Let's see. Oh no, I forgot to make it. I forgot to put the stroke on it. Hold on. Damn it! Alright. I make it very hard to tell. Bitch, you don't need that fire rune anymore. Get out of here with that. So that gives us a good metric on the distance that we have to change. So from here to here, 200 minus 221. All right. And then let's try to figure out the height difference, which is 4 pixels. Okay. So plus 4. And that might be animating just fine. So another 2 quick tests, right? One to see where he stands still, and then second we will fully animate it. So he should just be standing right there. Yeah. Damn, 805 damage. Okay, so now we'll actually animate the whole thing. We'll take that and change it to 48. And tween that shit up. Do it. Now we'll see what it looks like. Now it might look cool as shit. Now this is going to be him beating the fuck out of this enemy. But this will also give me a good idea how much I have to move his distance back. Oh, fuck yeah. Alright, so let's take the stroke off of that. Save it. Get rid of that, get rid of that. And I think we can take the stroke off of this now, because we're all done with all of his animations. So now we can see him as he's supposed to be seen. You know what, let's do, really quickly, just make a lighter background for battles. Let's do that. Because he's a darker character, so it's hard to see all of his details up against the darker background. So without any sound effects, this is his special attack. There we go. I also have to hide the character. Like, you see how you saw him standing there still? That's very easy to do. And we're actually going to speed up that animation a little bit too. Yeah, I kind of like the speed that it was at, but we're going to speed it up anyway. Actually, no, we won't. So, since this animation's playing on the actual character, you put a hide effect on, which is default RPG Maker thing. At frame 1, you do hide target for 48 frames, no problem. Right? Same thing with his attack. You hide target for the same amount of frames that the attack is. Right? So now, and same thing with the victory. You hide target for 16 frames. Right? This makes the animation kind of take over where the character is. And you're just seeing the animation and not the character. Not it playing over them. So now we'll test out everything right now. So we'll do that by beating up on these poor guys, right? So we'll do attack on one, right? No problem. And we'll do this on the other guy. He's going to get his ass beat up. I can't wait to do some sounds on that. It's going to be great. And then we see the animation. Victory animation. I also actually noticed that his victory animation isn't animating. So we have to do, was victory loop true? So it's only looping once. Some characters have that, and he has 4 frames. So, one final test. On him, let's beat this bitch up. There you go. Perfect. He's done. And that's how we had a character. That took a grand total, start to finish, to do the sprites, change the colors, animate everything properly, get everything aligned. 2 hours per character. So, without any of the stuff that I used to help me, like the plugin that I wrote or like the program to build the sprite sheets, that one character would have taken me... It probably would have taken me a month and a half before I gave up and said, fuck this game. Fuck it, I'll use shittier sprites, right? So everything works just like Suikoden, as much as humanly possible. So like with him, right? Oh god, I gotta get money. Hold on. So I forgot that like once we take all... Can he equip all this shit? Alright, he can equip a prosperity hat. He can equip a prosperity tunic. He can equip prosperity armband. Prosperity sandals. He can do it. Okay. Oh, prosperity rings. And prosperity Petra. Where's that? Oh, I can only use one. I want to get some money on him. I'll give him boost. This should give us a little bit of money. This should give us a lot of bit of money, actually. $12,000. There you go. Very nice. So I wanted to show you the like the blacksmith thing. So just like in Suikoden, you pick a character, they have their weapon, right? I'm gonna change that to where it says claws, to like, you know, just hand to hand. It'll be like a glove, like a gauntlet thing. I have to make that forge effect part on the right like a little bit smaller. Like there's no reason for it to have all those other boxes when it doesn't raise any stat other than attack, but that's something I gotta fix later. So basically you pay the fee, it levels your weapon up, right? And if you do it enough times, it'll level as well. It'll change the weapon name. So you see right now his weapon name is Johnny W1 because I didn't actually put in a name yet. But you'll see that'll change to 2 once I beat this dude's ass again and level it up. So boom, change to number 2, right? What else do we have to change? So right now you can like freely equip, like, you know, in Suikoden you can't like change your runes whenever you want. You have to like go to Rune Sage. So I figured out a way around that because certain ones have to be locked and certain ones have to be unlocked at all times. So like the unique ones you just can't unequip them, like no matter what, right? Once they're equipped, they're stuck. And then we also have it to where we put a state on them. We put a state on them, right? And it's only while you're in a shop, while you're in a Petra shop. Like you can't. While you're in a Petra shop, they'll be open. When you're outside of a Petra shop, it'll be like this, to where you can't change what you have, and you can't unequip that anyway. So there you go. And then, you know, well, I'll talk to him again. That'll open it up. And he gave me some money. Let's get his weapon all the way leveled up. So you see, now his status, he'll have 409 strength, 255. So that equals what, 659? He should have higher strength, right? It should be 659. It's at 659. It should be 759. Or 749. Alright, whatever. Wait, hold on. Am I fucking crazy? Am I just terrible at math, as usual? Yeah, that's completely the incorrect stat. He's at 664. Oh, because he's not a level 99. Derp. That's fine. So we can actually give him Actually give him some real gear, like actual awesome gear. Oh. So a lot of the gear isn't restricted yet to where like only a certain character or certain character can't equip it. Right now they're just like by type, which is fine. He can't equip that, but so like he can equip a sun helmet right now, which gives you like all these extra stats, but he can't really equip that. So we'll give him the stuff that he can really equip. Ooh, I like that. The Master's Garb. Or you get a Bloodscale Mail. Bloodscale Mail, yep. Much better. Oh, he can't equip that shit! That's fine. He can have that. Oh wait, no, it's the power ring. The one I want. There you go. So we want to take all this prosperity crap off of him, and we're not worried about him getting money. Now, one thing that annoys me about this is you still have the walking around slip damage, which I have to take off. I have to, like, code that out of the game. For that piece of equipment, anyway. So we have a boss that we can fight that I made that is, you know, he'll fucking shit on this thing. Because he's just going to do this and beat his ass over. We'll see how much damage this does now. I'll probably do something like almost 3,000 or 2,000 something. Oh, 4,000. Okay, yeah, great. Hey, I have an idea. How about we just ban you? How about that? That's a much better idea. I want to promote your channel. Get the fuck up out of here. Dumbass bot. Oh my god, we gotta do something about that boss collapse shit too. That is awful. Alright, so we have our character done. He's finished. Now we can set everyone back into the party and we can mess with it, right? So we could do all the way up at the top. I hate having to do this over and over again, but like right now I don't have a party change system in the game to like reduce party members to like one member. So like once these characters are in, they have to be dead to be out of the party. Because the party change system is something I'm going to have to do like pretty custom for this game, because we need to be able to put like support characters in the entourage and like lock certain characters and stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of extra shit we got to do for the party system to work properly. We got to be able to do multi-parties too, like more than one party, and save them, right? You guys want to see a good animation though, I'll show you something pretty sick in a minute. I'm just trying to remember all the characters I put in already that are done. Tennille's in there. Solana's in there, and what was it? Where is he? You little fuck. He'd be the last one, I think, right? It should be 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, okay, 15. Never mind. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. But it's okay. We're also... I gotta change him back to level 1. Okay. And he doesn't need the Fire Petra anymore. That can go bye-bye. So yeah, just check out this animation. So we gotta make this party. It's gonna be Oh, we also have, I'll show you the other special effects that we got going on too. Solana! So, we have a problem here, and that is that we have 4 front row characters, right? There needs to be only 3 in each category, right? Now, right now, the game isn't restricting you to where you only have to have 3. It would just look fucking dumb in a game. In the game, it would look like silly if there were more than 3. We're gonna code it. We're gonna alter the code so that it locks you to like 3 per row, and you can't get out of this screen until you have 3 per row or less. But we haven't done that yet. So he can go in the long. He's a long range. He can stay in the back. She's short range, but she's gonna be healing anyway, so she can go in the back too, right? She's a healer. And then we have the 3 front range people right here, and then her in the middle row, right? So let's save that as is. I want to show you their special stuff, right? So one of the things is that he has the Godspeed rune, which lets you escape as long as he's in the party and alive. 100% escape rate. Alright, these are the characters that have like special stuff. So just like in Suikoden, when you have him, it increases your walking speed on the map and stuff, your dash speed, and your chance to escape from battle. I gotta change that to dash speed. So right now, you see how fast I'm walking around, right? But if I took him out of the team, that then slows down a little bit. It's hard to notice it, so I should make it like a little bit more of a difference, but you do go faster with him on your team when you're dashing. So anyway, let's just beat up all these guys. And you'll see all the special animations that we have for all these characters now. Chase is also incredibly fast. Oh shit, he's super high level. I gotta change that. Ooh, man, she got her ass beat. So we gotta do... I'll do sound effects for all this stuff later, like off stream. I'll get everything. This is the good one, though. This one literally crashes the game if I try to look it up. Yo, no shit. If I try to even look at that animation in the game engine, in the editor crashes every time. If I need to edit anything about that animation, I have to do it through the JSON text file. Like I have to do it manually. There's no way for me to edit that animation any other way. I had to actually make the animation by using a different animation file that was much smaller. Set it up the way I wanted to, then replace the file. And then go into the text file and change the file that it pointed to. And now I can never touch it ever again. That's it. It's stuck like that for the whole game. But it looks awesome. I can edit the skill part of it. Like the part that makes the character go to the middle of the screen, the enemy go to the middle, the part that makes the screen turn black. I can edit that stuff. I can't edit the actual animation, which I no longer need to because it's aligned perfectly. It's fine. So just also like Suikoden, we also have it where here have some items where characters can equip items to use, and you can't use items in battle unless they're equipped on one of these slots. Right? So like Mega Medicine, right? Medicine. Right? And our position in battle matters, right? So like I said, Lucia is attack range short, right? But she's in the back row, which is only viable for attack range long. So you'll see, if I go to attack with everyone, she can't attack, because she's in the wrong row. She can't attack at all. So she's fucked. Certain one of these, like, Petras can be used from the back row. So, like, Solana's Shadow Step, like, she can use it from the back row. Oh, I wanted you to see this one, too. The Angry Dragon one is pretty good too. I love this one. Man. Yeah, look at this one. This one's good. I fucking love that one. I need a Battle Zoom plugin for that one. So she has a Petra where she can heal everyone, but anyone can equip it. She can take it off. It's not locked to her. So that's what's going on with that. And as far as like Petra go, like almost all of them are already done. Like the skills and Petra stuff is the stuff I did first, and a lot of it's pretty much finished. So in battle, they're also going to have the Unite attacks, right? That's already in game. I just haven't done any of them yet because that's going to take some animation stuff that's going to take me a long time to do. They're also going to have commands to move forward and backward in the row, like in case you need to. In case you need to take a turn to like move a character up. But it's also gonna, in order for me to do that, the reason why I haven't done it yet is because I'm going to need it to automatically, anytime a character dies, it's gonna have to automatically move them to the back row and switch them with someone else. Like whoever's in the back row, like if Johnny dies, like up at the top there, and he's in the front row, nobody's behind him in the middle row. So he would just lay there dead. But like Danielle there, the second character with the big sword and the red clothes, if she died, I'd need her and the girl behind her with the claws to switch spaces immediately. Like, the dead character would move back a row and the other character would move forward a row automatically. So that's not done yet. That might take a lot of testing, because there's a lot of things to, like, consider there. Like, is there a character behind them? And is there a character behind them in the very next row? Because, like, Lucia is in the back row and Chase is in the back row. And they're in the first and second positions, technically, so they would be behind Johnny and Danielle and Aileen. But they don't need to move up if the other character dies, because there's an open space between them. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I'm going to have to mess with a lot later on. But so yeah, that's it. That's how we do characters. So he's the last character I had to do as far as... one thing I'm going to start tagging with is... I want to start tagging characters with Entourage, because this is going to be part of my party system that I make. Certain characters, obviously, you're not going to be able to use them in fights. There's 108 characters, you can't use every single one of them in a fight. I could do it, of course, I just, why? Why would you do that? Right? Certain characters are just support that unlock certain things, like mini games or, like, shops and stuff. So these characters are Entourage only. That's why their class is Entourage, that's why their max level is 1. They can't do anything, they don't have a range. So I'm gonna have to work on this party system like pretty soon, because it's starting to get to the point where we're almost at 20 characters done. So we need to be able to switch them out, and it needs to work properly. We also need like party skills, party passive skills for like the support characters. So like if we have this guy Johan on our team, we don't want him to just be taking up space in the entourage. You want to actually have there be a point to having him on the team, which is like unlocking some sort of party passive, like boosting the team's attack or boosting the team's like gold drop rate or the item drop rate, stuff like that. So we're going to be messing with that soon. You can see none of the characters have a character set except for like 2 of them, and that's because they are like the 2 main characters of the game. And it's coded in to where no matter who is in the front of the party, it'll just show those one or the other, depending on what variable value it is at. Other than that, it always shows our main guy in the front. We can rename him anything we want. So I wanted to start doing, like, since I'm like pretty much where I need to be with character stuff and animation stuff, I wanted to start doing map stuff. But I gotta tell you, man, for this engine, it is hard to find tile sets that are workable that aren't like the RTP, which is like these default tiles that come with the engine, which look like dog shit. Right? Like, look how fucking bright this... Look how blindingly bright this grass is. What is that? Why is it like that? Who has grass that's that fucking green? No one. So I'm looking for tile sets to use. I looked in a lot of different candidates so far for like what kind of graphics to use, and all of them are 32 by 32 tiles, right? Which is like kind of like a standard number in a lot of video games now, especially like mobile stuff. Or they go somewhere beyond 48, which is like a lot of games might use 64 by 64 tiles. These are 48 by 48. Each tile is 48 by 48. So if I'm going to take something that was 32 by 32, I would have to either use a plugin to change how big the tile size is in the game, and then everything in this editor would look weird, would look wrong, right? Or I have to scale up 32 by 32 tiles to 48 by 48, which is a 50% increase in size, which would blur them and make them look like dog shit. So right now I'm stuck on maps until I find tiles that are 48 by 48 that have like a complete enough set that I could use them for the whole game. Because you don't want to change graphical styles too much during the game. All right, as far as characters and stuff like that, I'll get somebody. I'll probably end up hiring someone to do that. I have a couple people in mind for it, but yeah, for now, we're good to go on a lot of these characters. They're all set with their initial gear, all that stuff. One thing that doesn't work is like the event command. There's an event command, like if you go into an event and you do this, right, and you do change equipment, right? So let's say I wanted to take the hero's weapon and give it a certain weapon, right? It would unequip what he has and put this on, whatever I choose here. Because of a plugin that I have, that command no longer works. But I need that command for two specific parts in the game. Because this game is already, like, story-wise and lore-wise and everything, written start to finish. It's done. It's only a matter of building it now. Like, I started writing this game, like, back in 2011 or something, right? I never, like, made it. But now it's written, it's done. Like, all these characters that you see on this list, like, these characters are done, fleshed out, their backstories, every single thing about them is already finished. There's, like, literally one character left to do, and that's it. And it's just, like, a random NPC guy that you can't use in battles and unlock something. I haven't decided what his name is going to be yet. But the character's already there, and what their purpose is already there. So this shit's all done already. All good. I just have to get cracking on making it. And then adding in, you know, all the bells and whistles, plugins that, like, you know, increase, like, make map effects, stuff like that. Reflecting water, stuff like, all sorts of shit like that. A lot of the reflective water stuff you find now is not good for MV. But yeah, there we go. So I'm gonna go for now and get working on doing sound effects for those animations, and then probably looking for more tile sets. So if you ever find any RPG-like tile sets that have a lot of different sets and they're 48 by 48, please, you just let me know right away, and I'll use them. I promise. Like one of the ones I was trying to use was I'll show you some of them, which was Final Fantasy V Mobile's tile sets are really beautiful. They look really good. Problem is, they're 32 by 32, right? So like something like this, I'd build into a tile set for a town maybe, or at least parts of it, right? I think this is Karnak. Looks good. I'd have to upscale all of this, right? So if I open this right in Photoshop right now, right? It's unlocked. And like I said, that is a 50% increase, right? So you do 150%, right? We don't want to do hard edges because that would make it look like that, like kind of crappy, right? Like kind of pixelated and zoomed in, which I don't think is the worst thing in the world. But it looks like shit on stuff like trees. Like, look at that. Right? That looks weird. So we'd have to do it at 150% and then do like automatic or enlargement, right? Preserve details enlargement, right? Ugh. And now you see how blurry it is, right? And there's no way to avoid that, unfortunately, right? Even if we did it with the other setting, right? Which was, oh God. Which would be this, right? Smoother. Still looks blurry as fuck. But that is what makes them 48 by 48. Right, but they just look blurry and shitty. So I can't use them, even though I want to. This is a direct rip from the game. From FF5's like mobile game. That's why it's all random. But tile sets are built like that in games anyway. They don't all look like certain tiles are together that need to be. But a lot of times when you rip graphics out of a game, they're very out of whack. But yeah, so yeah, like I want to use that stuff, but I can't. And I want something that looks as good or better than this, right? Because these tiles are really nice. Like, they're beautiful tiles. Like you look at them, they're really nice looking. Like, I made tile sets out of it. I used some of these for like some RPG Maker stuff that I did, but it looks blurry, and you can tell in game, and it looks like shit, and it sucks. I wish these were 48 by 48, or I wish there was a way to change the goddamn tile set size in RPG Maker MV and have it reflect in the editor. That would be better. You got one of these games like 5 years ago and then got overwhelmed and gave up after a day. We gave up on what? Final Fantasy V? So yeah, unfortunately, can't use those tiles. And anytime I've tried to look for like 48 by 48 tiles, they're always in this style, in this RTP, like recolored, edited RTP shit. And it looks fucking awful. Like all the stuff that people made for this stuff, like the inside of houses and stuff, like these things, you know, like bookshelves and boxes and shit, those stuff look nice, right? And you could use those in almost any tile set. But the trees, like being 2 tiles tall, like get the fuck out of here, man. It look. What is it, a baby tree? It's a bush. Like, look at these roof tiles. These are fucking awful. Like, everything about these RTP tile sets, fucking, I refuse to use RTP shit in any of these games. In anything I ever do in RPG Maker, I refuse to use RTP graphics. Yeah, it takes some getting used to. I'll give you that. It's not easy to make stuff in this. It's marketed as being pretty easy, and VX Ace is great. That's like the main one I used for a long time, and it is a really good engine. And once you know what you're doing a little bit, it then becomes a lot easier for you to mess with stuff and figure out what you want to do things the way you want them to be done. But at first, it's not very easy to figure out at all. And it's always marketed as like fresh out of the box, you can, you know, make this and make that. And it's true, you can, but you still have to like know how to make an event. You don't want to know what's the best thing is that RPG Maker 95 and 2000 and 2003, those are the earliest versions of it, didn't come with help files because they were basically pirated and fan translated into English. So the help file was like all in Japanese, so they just didn't even package it with it. So like RPG Maker 95, 2000, and 2003, like you literally had to figure that shit out on your own. Like that's how I learned it. Yeah, you see, like sometimes you see like a lot of the questions that people ask on like forums for this software is like, man, like they don't understand at all what's going on, like, or how to like edit like the image files and stuff. Like I saw somebody post a question, was like, I put these 2 images in, but they won't show up as icons. Now, icons are like when you set an item icon like this, right? Like you pick an icon out of this is just one image that is set up in 32 by 32 icons, right? Like, and you see which ones are the default ones, which is like these ugly ones, and then you see the ones that I replaced, like with my own stuff, right? The person put them in the pictures folder, right, in their game, first of all. Here's the image folder, right? And this is where all the different images go. So you have system images, right? So that's like the window skins, stuff like that, right? Like all the different windows. Then you have animations, which are the battle animations, right? You have the battle backs, which are the battle backgrounds, right? You have one right here in system that says icon set. So not only did the guy put him in completely the wrong folder, he put him in the pictures folder, right? Which is not how it works. He also put in the pictures were also 2 different sizes. One was 64 by 64 and one was 128 by 128. And he's like, I can't get these to show up in the game. And like, just from that, I was like, I can't even explain how to do this to this person because they are so beyond knowing what's going on with this program because they're brand new, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. No hating on the guy. It's just, he just thought you could just import any picture you want into the pictures folder and have it show up in the game as any kind of picture, as like an icon or a layer or a parallax. And like, just to getting him to the point where he would be editing the icon set image would have taken an explanation, like a lesson almost, like you're saying. Like, it would have taken me so long to explain it that I was just like, I'm not going to answer this question. I was like, I'm not going to do it. So yeah, there we go. Off with that. We done. And yeah, we'll get back to more of it some other time. I'm probably going to spend the rest of my day looking for time because I'm off from work tomorrow, so I have like all night to work on stuff. So if I do find a couple of tile sets that I can use for the first couple of areas that I have planned, I will build them tonight and we'll go through them tomorrow. I'll event everything and it'll be all nice. They won't have faces yet because I need an artist for that. And unfortunately, I can, kind of hack it together myself if I wanted to, but I'm not a good artist and I want the game to have like halfway decent art. So we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching, man. I appreciate it. It's very fun for me to do this sort of thing, like go through the development process of things and how I make some of this stuff. Because like I said, explaining it's difficult. But explaining it with the visual aid is not as difficult. And hopefully if somebody's like stuck on how to do something in like RPG Maker at least,